Hello, hello, hello. Today is September 12th, and I am your High Priestess, Erin Saniva. Welcome to the temple. As we enter this space, I welcome the presence of our highest selves. I welcome the presence of the highest consciousness into this space, highest love, highest compassion. I ask for the divine light to hold us today. And I welcome the benevolent teachers and weavers of the divine plan to grace this space, to support the expansion and sharing of spiritual experience and education, and to be present for the unfolding of hearts returning to their true medicine. You may be called to this space today because you are seeking connection to your divinity or simply to divinity. Maybe you're ready to heal. You're ready to remember. Maybe you're ready to walk the path of love and to participate in the restoration of the divine plan on earth. Welcome. And so it is. So, my dear friends, what a time. What a time. I've been home for less than 24 hours. I've been in the United States for less than 24 hours, and already it's just like quite overwhelming. But at the same time, it is not lost on me that my purpose to remember and to hold and consecrate the path of love on this planet, when we are in times of crisis, moral dilemma, this is when the priestesses are needed the most. And I'm out of candles and I don't have any flowers on my altar. I'm still landing and coming home, right? And I truly, really, really, truly know that we are all whole, that we are all capable of love in the face of moral dilemma, in the face of violence, in the face of conflict, right? We have, as humans, a responsibility to maintain the center. We have a responsibility, whether you consider yourself a spiritual person or not, to have common sense, right? We have a responsibility to remember our humanity at times like these. And it can be the most difficult time for you to remember your humanity when humanity is in pain. Not only was a very outspoken man openly, publicly, obviously, I mean, there are so many strange things about Charlie's offing that are just like, this is PSYOP 101. They don't even try to hide it, right? On top of that, here in Colorado, in Evergreen, where my cousin went to high school, where my aunt lives right outside of Evergreen, there was a school shooting. In Canada, a man drove his car into a daycare. There were apparently 2 other school shootings yesterday as well. So while we are in this space, while we are in this place of distortion and pain, I'm coming home from feeling so nourished, so spiritually gifted, rewarded even for my work in the world. So no, the word is nourished. There's really no other word for it. but so spiritually nourished, especially from not just the beautiful women that we were all together with for 11 days, but also that I had soul return, huge soul return that feels like it was building up to this like third time's the charm visit, you know? And it's just so heart-wrenching to come home and feel the pain in this place. And so I feel, initially I felt, called to be here. Hi, everyone who's here. Hi, watching on the replay later. So grateful for you. I was like, I'm excited to share and talk about all the things and the experiences. And the most important thing that I feel is needed right now is to talk about love, to talk about how to be, how to hold ourselves in the highest vibration that we can while the world around us seems to be in total chaos. And there are obvious factors and factions that are participating. Hi, Judy, that are participating in divisiveness, right? We've known about we know that there are factions that are constantly trying to divide us. We know about distractions. We know about things that are seemingly over our head, but are really clear to the open eye. And so, because we have pattern recognition, we can see when we're being really blatantly lied to. And so, while that's happening, and while there are people who are taking the bait, who are celebrating the death of an innocent person, or multiple people are defending, it's just it's just really strange. So the most valuable thing that we can do is maintain our heart center. We can maintain, you're always on time, Lori. You're always on time. So how do we do that, right? In the face of a challenge, the priestesses are asked to pray. The spiritual ones are asked to pray. And it's, just so you know, thoughts and prayers are actually measured. They're actually measured. They're actually a thing. So you can say, our thoughts and prayers are with you, and feel like it's not actually a thing, but it is. It truly is. Hello, all my wonderful, beautiful friends. I have missed you. Hello, Michelle. Hi, Ariana. Thank you for coming. So let's breathe into our heart center and make sure that we are in this place connected, so that we can act from this place, so that we can speak from this place. So I invite you to do a quick little meditation with me. Close your eyes if you're not driving or operating heavy machinery or walking around. Take a moment with me to breathe into the center of your heart, to see the heart flame that resides there. There's a big blue flame, that's the mother. There's a green flame that is the emerald crystal heart that we all share. We all have this within us. The white Christed flame, which is exactly what it sounds like. Christ consciousness dwells within. And the triple solar dragon flame, from the central sun of our galaxy, Solaris, and the central sun of the Earth, connected. Add more flames if you like, the violet flame. Whatever flame you feel called, be here with it in the center of the heart. And I invite you to step in to the heart fire. Allow yourself to be purified by it and feel the source of love that pulses here at the center of your vortex, at the center of your being. And sometimes it's helpful to just find that exact center and touch it with your finger. You'll know when you find it. It might even be tender. Mine's a little tender. So be there. The waves of love flow out from the center. Flowing. The pulse of love radiating out in all directions. From source to your source. Yahualina Kiohuehi Halaros. And breathe into this place. Breathe big. And feel the flames around you, in you, outside of you. And what I hope you're feeling first is love for the self. Most importantly, self-love. And the love and appreciation for yourself from yourself, which is the best and can be also the hardest to receive. But it's right here. It's right here for all of us. And I welcome now that heart fire to just be the blue flame of Sophia. And we are calling on her presence to look through her eyes, to look at humanity with the eyes of the mother. No matter what your theology, ideology, opinions, politics, I invite you to look at situations, individuals, challenging subjects through the eyes of the mother. And so in the presence of the blue flame, she's here, she's with us, and we can let it engulf us, we can let it burn bright in our center. But we ask you, Mother Sophia, your infinite wisdom, your wise counsel, and your loving, unconditional, loving heart. Help us to see humanity. Help us to see those people who are not in the same place that I am. Do not think the same way that I think or feel the same way that I feel. And when I look with the eyes of the mother, I see everyone as my children. And this is not, it's not cliche. It's something that needs to be felt. It's something that needs to be directly experienced. And you can right now. And I, I really wish that I could talk to the world just for like a minute. If I could just have everybody in the United States at least 360 million people. Okay, maybe just those who are 8 and older. Everyone is a child. Everyone is originally innocent. Everyone on this planet, no matter how you've been formed, how you've been raised, how you've been corrupted, how you've been abused, how you've been overthrown from your own soul source, you are still innocent and you are still a child. From the perspective of the mother, everyone is an innocent baby whom she loves unconditionally. So when we hold this space of unconditional love, which is it's incredibly difficult for a lot of people if you are not practiced in looking through the eyes of the mother, and I'm not saying a mother, I'm talking about the mother, our mother, yours and mine, the divine one. She does. She loves us unconditionally. There's nothing we could do to offend her. There's nothing we could do to cause her anger or wrath because she knows that we are all learning through experience, that we have to go through everything in order to learn our lessons. That's the way we learn. That's how it's set up here. And we even have to go through these trials and tribulations in order to discover who we really are. And she knows that. And she creates conflict for us to learn. Well, we create conflict in order for us to learn it. She doesn't stop it. I'll put it that way. She's not orchestrating things. She's just watching and going, yes, interesting. Very well. Good job. Right? And when your child falls down and scrapes their knee, you give them a hand and help them up and say, I love you. You doing okay? Keep going, right? So if you can receive that, if you can even hold it for yourself. I was talking with my husband this morning, of course, at 4 a.m. because I have France time in my body. And we're talking about our children and we're talking about our childhoods and we're comparing ourselves to our parents. And good Lord, thank you for how far we've come. Thank you for improving upon ourselves, right? That's what we're supposed to do, is to improve upon what we were given. And that's not always the case. Sometimes people perpetuate their pain and they don't know how to save themselves or get themselves out of it. But I was reminding my husband today that he also, while he loves his son and his daughter unconditionally, that he has to do the same for his inner child. And he had a really challenging childhood. And he has a lot of things within him that he has to face. And even if you feel like you've been sheltered or protected or privileged in one way or another, which I definitely do. I had my own challenges. We all have our own challenges, to each their own, right? There's always a piece that's there for us to remember and to heal and to reparent even, possibly. So these all go together. We're not trying to parent people that we don't know, but we need to have compassion for people that we don't know. We need to really respond to what's happening in the world with love. And if you're not doing that, if you're feeling angry about how things are, please feel your feelings and come back to love. You're allowed to feel your feelings. Nobody's saying don't be angry. I know there are a lot of people that are angry about what happened to Charlie. And I know that there are a lot of people that are happy about what happened to Charlie. And that part breaks my heart so much. And I'm not a Christian. He was like, hands down, Bible, everything. The Bible is the way. And I don't, me, I don't believe that. But I believe that he did something so valuable to create discourse, to debate people. Did you have a debate class when you were in high school? Yeah. Do they have debate class anymore? Mm. We need to be able to hold our own, because the majority of conversations that happen these days are just regurgitations. They're other people's words. They're not personal truths, especially around ideology, especially around theology. And I know that Charlie was faced with, again and again, a lot of really angry people who did not like what he was doing. And from what I saw, what I didn't watch a lot of his things, but they would end up on my algorithm, which I always thought it was fascinating, was how he was always in his center. He never raised his voice while people would shout at him and scream at him and lose their shit. And he would stay calm and just speak his truth. And whether or not you agreed with him, we can all learn from that. And we all need to maintain, those of us who can. My sister, you can. I know it's hard to keep the vibe high, especially when people are celebrating assassination. What you're celebrating is that it's most likely a big conspiracy to, one, harvest your energy, two, create more divisiveness in this country and potentially push to a civil right? That was the term. Right? So please know when you and your emotions are being used and thoroughly distracted, because everybody's talking about Charlie. They're not talking about the E-list, right? They're not talking about Big Izzy, right? They're not talking about the vaccine studies. No, which you all should know what happened, right? Like, you should all know that there has been a release of research of vaccinated versus unvaccinated youth. You deserve to know that truth. You deserve to know how bad it is. But that was taken off of the headlines. It probably wasn't even on the news. I would know because I don't watch. So when your heart tells you that something is wrong, stay vigilant. Stay tuned in to love. Turn off the social media. You don't need it. Go away from it. I know we're here right now. Thank you for being here. But we're here in a high vibe place, right? So watch your doom scrolling. Turn it off. Go to nature, right? Return to yourself. Take care of yourself. Listen to high vibrational music. Maintain your frequency. There. So, can we change the subject now? I want to talk about France. So, let's just remember love, and I have been, in a place of gosh, the 999 portal was really strong for me. And we actually went up to Montsegur, which is it's not a long hike, but it's a hike. It's not easy because it's like roots and rocks and you know, maybe this trail is like thousands of years old. And it's very challenging and feels like an initiation in and of itself. And there were a few of us who were drawn to a particular spot and were like, oh, this is so weird. Like, I don't necessarily feel like I lived here, or maybe I wasn't here, at some point while it was Montsegur, while this castle was intact and people lived here. But that rock, I know that rock, it was like this big, giant, boulder or, part of the earth sticking out. And all three of us were like, yeah, why does that look familiar? And so I said, I think this is our spot. So we circled up, we held hands and focused on that energy of letting go of what has come before so that we can be ready for what is next. And that's what 999 is about. That's what it's for. That's what that portal was for us to say, okay, wow, I see all of these things that have come to completion or are coming to fruition, and I'm ready to move on to the next thing. So I had some big clarities in that moment and just in that quick meditation, because everything was just like, boom, here we are. Okay, check in, focus, gather. Right? And then move on to the next thing, right? So, and that's honestly like how these pilgrimage tours happen. Like, when your intention and your prayer is so clear, you don't actually need a big elaborate ceremony or ritual in order to do something really palpable, really tangible for the matrix of reality. And so it's true. Like I'm feeling the reverberations of that quick little ceremony, and of course reverberations of the whole experience, and feeling incredibly inspired also to make music and sing a lot. So that will be happening. That will definitely be happening. I'd love to answer any questions about France. I haven't talked about it at all. That's the only thing I've shared. But I'm just so grateful for our group of 9. That was just so perfect. And we had a jaunt to Spain, which just lit me up. I'd never been to Spain before, and we weren't supposed to take our rental cars to Spain, but we did. And we just drove down the coast from Perpignan, where we were on the beach, down to Rosas. And I have to tell you how divinely orchestrated the entire tour was, down to the minute, where we're like, oh, look at what time we're arriving, right? Things like that. But I knew that we needed to go south. I knew that there was a peninsula that we needed to get to. And there was an old Venus temple that was there. And they had of course, an old Catholic church in ruins that was built over the Venus temple. I was like, oh, we got to get to this Venus temple. I'm so called to it, And so then I did some research and and discovered that there was this town called Roses. Where's my dragon book? Let me see if my dragon book is nearby. Where did I put it? I think I had it downstairs when I was doing research before I left. Anyway, so in this book that was written by the wonderful Ani Williams, who we got to be with on our first day there, there is a map of these 94 Magdalene sites. Well, the map doesn't contain 94, but there are 94 Magdalene sites in Iberia, in Catalan, eastern Spain. And so I'm looking at this map, and it dawns on me that the town, and I'm looking online at the map, and I'm seeing in the book that there is a town that is at the edge of the horizontal line of this powerful ley line cross that includes the Paris or Rose Dragon Meridian that goes down the center from Paris, actually goes all the way up to Roslin, right? Roslin Chapel in Scotland. It goes all the way down to Barcelona and then to Mallorca, which is the Dragon Island. Okay. So I'm looking at both Google Maps and the book, and I'm like, wait a second. This old name in this book says the town is called Rhodes, Rhodes. But here on the Google map, it's called Roses. I'm like, oh, we need to go to the town called Roses. Duh. So we did. And I'm looking at the Google map, and I click on an image, and there is a star fort called the Citadel of Roses. And this star fort has a lot of history, a lot of information, a lot of battles that happened there. And some of the group had been killed there. Like they had huge memories before we even went there. We're like, let's open up our records and see if we were there. And a couple of us were, a few of us were. So we went there and had an enormously fabulous time and discovered that this star fort is actually, and this is, Kat and I received this at different points independently and cross-referenced, that we both received the same thing, that this was a multidimensional intergalactic star port. And so what we did was, because I saw it quantumly, I saw what was actually there, the multidimensional machinery that was there to hold open the portal, to close the portal as needed. But the place needed to be returned to the mother. And so our group, I guided them through a meditation of anchoring the 5 points with the pillars of harmony, love, truth, respect, and justice. And in the center, anchoring the blue flame of Sophia. And that's all it takes, honestly. Like, we reclaim this land, this space that is no longer a place of fighting and turmoil and death. This is a place of the mother. This belongs to the goddess. And it felt so good. And then we were rewarded by a delicious paella dinner with a lovely Portuguese waiter that was just so fucking fun on the beach. On the beach. Everything was right there on the beach in this cove. So I'm just like, okay, then we're going to have more Spain next time. More Spain. Spain was super fun and such a different frequency than France. Oh my goodness. Palpable difference. Spain to France. Much more relaxed, maybe not as nicely painted and kept up as the houses are in France. And grateful to Kat, who was doing clearings along the way while we were driving down. There were a couple of spots that were a little iffy. And so, it's really, really fantastic to just be a part of a group that's doing so many things at once for ourselves, for each other, for the collective, for the Sisterhood of the Rose, for the lineage of love, the path of love, the way of love. Like, we're on it. when we are doing these tours, there's just the the divine orchestration. Here's another piece of divine orchestration. So, driving in a foreign country is difficult enough, okay? So this is actually Basque country. Well, Basque is a little bit more north in Spain, but in the Pyrenees, we're in the Pyrenees, right? We're in the Pyrenees. Um, Good question, Leela. So, um, no. I mean, we were generally having like, encounters with French people and talking about politics. We just kind of heard about it. Actually, my husband told me um that what was happening. They're like, the government's falling apart. And I'm like, everything looks okay on this end, you know? So as far as with transmutation, we just felt really far away from that. We felt really far away from all of that because when you're in this place, mind you, Magdalene country, which they literally call it Magdalene country, um, there are some more prosperous parts, but the place where Rennes-le-Château is, that whole valley is one of the poorest valleys in the country. But you wouldn't know it. Everybody looks well, everybody, you have your random panhandlers, but everybody is kind and beautiful. The houses are well kept. Everything looks good. And okay, let me take that back. We're all also at the same time that you have hundreds of years old buildings that are dilapidated and nobody's taking care of them and they're just boarded up, or they are trying to take care of them and there's a lot of that fixing work that's happening. Oh, that's very cool, Ariana. So are you Atlantean? There are some who believe that the Basque are Atlanteans. I believe that the majority of the Basque have DNA that is not shared with other humans, and also have Rh negative blood. I'm so dehydrated from traveling. You'll excuse me. So, so it's mostly of what was being transmuted is the overlay of the church in a lot of these places, right? In order for us to access the Magdalene, we have to excuse me, we have to look through the cross basically. And literally sometimes it's like I mean it figuratively, but sometimes it's literally that like we have to wait. Oh, can you see behind the cross there? There's the stained glass. Can you see over there the stained glass? It's actually Mary. You know, but it's behind the cross. It's not obvious, right? And what's also really wonderful. Oh, interesting, Holly. Yes. All right, we've got some Rh negative people. I am not. I am positive. Oh, positive. Yeah, I think Laura is a minus, a negative as well. So, yeah. So it's just it's such a wonderful place, and I had especially. Oh, this is what I was going to tell you about the divine orchestration. Okay. So it's hard to there were so many things that happened each and every day. Each and every day was chock full. And you can't even do all of the things that you want to do. There's so many places to go and important vortices to visit and churches to sing in and, right, and caves to honor. So when we were driving from the sea back to the valley, we went up to Carcassonne. Carcassonne is a medieval walled city that was a Cathar stronghold. And so on our way to Carcassonne, mind you, we're in two different cars. It was actually a lot easier for us to be in two different cars instead of one van. So going at different times, doing doing different things, and driving through France is not very easy. They don't do directions on the sign, so like east, west, north, south, they don't do that. You have to know what town is in the direction that you're going. So if you don't know the place, that can be difficult. So, and sometimes my GPS would not match up with what the sign said. So sometimes I made a wrong turn. Almost every day, actually, every day I made a wrong turn. And I began to notice the divine timing that was happening. We all could feel it. Like, oh, we're turned around. Oh, sorry, guys. I missed the turn. I took off the. They don't have lights. They have roundabouts. So you don't even get a moment to stop and think, where am I going? You just have to know, am I going on the first, second, third, or fourth exit, right? At every 200 meters, 2 to 500 meters, here's another roundabout for you to have to know exactly where you're going. So I got on the wrong highway, the wrong direction of the correct highway. And this really, it added half an hour to our drive to Carcassonne, which was already an hour and a half. And I was upset. Like, this was after a week of doing this and making these wrong turns and just being like, oh my God. So I cried a little bit. It really threw me. And I'm just like, just trust. This is for a reason. You don't know what it is. There's some kind of timing that you need to meet, and it's okay. So we finally found the spot where we could turn around and go back. And as soon as we got back onto the highway, the first car that we saw had 444 on the license plate. The second car that we saw had a 444 on the license plate. Right after that, we had a 999. I'm like, okay, all right. We're in the right place. Everything is good. And we also had to have a wee break. So we stopped at the rest area. And it turned out that there was a fort at this rest area. And you couldn't really see it because there were a lot of trees and everything, but usually they have rest areas at places that are of, historical significance. And there are so many because this place is, old. Like, being in the United States is nothing compared to being in Europe, where you're like, this castle's 1,000 years old. And you're like, what is that? Can't even compute, you know? So not a weed break. It was a wee break, a loo break. Hi, Donna. So I'm like, I tried to like walk over and see the fort. I didn't see anything. And I turned around and I walked back. I'm walking back to the car and I hear a very loud help me in my head, inside my head. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I turned back around and I walked down a little bit further and then I could see the fort. So I called in Ramara. I was like, okay. And I'm like, this, you you made me turn the wrong way so that I could come here and clear this fort, which we did. And it made me feel so much better, even though it actually kind of threw me a little bit, like energetically. I was still like afterwards because of that, like 30 minutes. And also it was, I think, what was that? Our eighth day, the eighth day. I don't know why. There's something about the eighth day that is like, it's so almost to my limit. I think it's like when I miss my family so much that I'm like, I could end the retreat right now. Like maybe 8 days is perfect. So because you enter into a new phase, right? We understand like a week and you're starting a new week and what's happening now in this new week, right? So for the rest of the day, I really was just like, and Carcassonne, it's a tourist trap. I don't really like it. It's magnificent to see and to, like, be in, but that's all it is, and I don't like to be a tourist. I wanna be, with the people. My favorite thing to do is to do the things that the locals do, and they don't go to Carcassonne. So, um, if you want to reach if you wanna research it, this is the name, Carcassonne. So, it's magnificent. If you watch Lara's podcast, I'm sure she's talked all about it. Um, from last year to before the tour this time, and we did not actually have it in the plan to go to Carcassonne, but everybody really wanted to, so we needed to make that happen. So, the valley, though, we all knew, like, returning to the valley, being on the beach was great. Having a down day, a free day on the beach, oh my god. Oh, delicious. So good. So good to feel sun-kissed and have a little bit of a, toastiness and right on my cheeks and just feeling, like, exhausted from being in the sea, in the sun. Oh, such a good feeling. And, yeah, so then we go back to the valley and we know we're returning home. Like, it feels like we're going home, and it's if you have felt any inclination to come to France, whether it's with me or not, you must, because there's so much whether or not you're drawn or connected to Mary Magdalene, whether or not, you feel like there's something there for you, there's always something there for you, because that country is the divine feminine country. I could not explain it any other way. And it's almost like we know that, right? It's almost like, surprise, surprise, France, being more sexually liberal, right? Things like that, and just like the country of love, and Paris, the city of love, right? Like, it makes sense. This is the country of divine feminine. So whether you're connected to Mary or not, Mother Mary is also present. Venus is present. Isis is present. Like, these places that are dedicated to Mary Magdalene now were dedicated to Isis before her. And then they became, either they were locations of import for the locals, and then Mary came in and she became the overarching goddess, right? The history that's there, is still there. You just have to know where to look. You just have to know how to see it. And so every time that we go, I'm pointing out, because I've learned along the way. My first trip to France, I was supporting my teacher at the time, and it was all about her. To be honest, it was all about her, and she was making an album, and we were all kind of part of the album and everything. The Magdalene Codes from Stellar. I'm on that album. We're all on that album. And so we weren't actually there learning all of these secrets from the locals. So that began last year, going to this wonderful church, actually in the town that we stayed in this time, that we couldn't go to because it's only open on the weekends. Gorgeous church, beautiful energy. That's actually the video that Ani and myself and Caroline are singing in. And I learned so much about hidden symbols. And only because I was with the locals, and again, this time, like, knowing the hidden waterfalls and the Lover's Fountain and all of these secret, sacred places, and then we go up. I shared, like, my new profile picture here on Facebook is me sitting on the Isis throne. So then other women who have sat on that throne are like, yeah, I've been there, you know? And one girlfriend is like, did you keep hiking up and go to the Druid singing rocks? Like, what? Right? There's always something more to discover. And it's so wonderful. It's just so wonderful, so healing. I had huge past life healing, and definitely had lots of memories and wonderful revisits with the ancestors there. And I couldn't have, you know, there are a couple things that I would say, oh, this piece could have been a little bit better, and this piece could have been a little bit better, but yeah. So I've heard from a lot of people that they would love to go on this trip next year. I'm going. Mary told me 3 times. She's like, keep coming. Thank you for bringing the women. Keep doing it. Don't stop. So I'm not stopping. This is an annual trip, and it's going to be the same time of year every time. So we might do it a little bit earlier, maybe in August. Because of just like the timing of school, either earlier in August or later in September. Because it was just not the best time for me to be away while all the children were starting school. So, yes. And eat the bread. Yes. Eat the bread, eat the cheese. I mean, I lost weight while I was there. Of course, we're like on our feet a lot, doing a lot of walking and hiking and stuff. But, you know, it's also when you're in a high vibration place like this, you don't need a lot of food to sustain yourself. I think in general, right now where we are, we don't need a lot of food to sustain ourselves. And we need to listen to that as well. But even in the airport yesterday in Paris, I bought a bag of Doritos, and I was amazed looking at the ingredients list, which was in French, to not see any food coloring, to literally see things that are helpful, like antioxidants. And then the chips are thicker. They're like made completely differently. You can taste that there's no MSG. They taste better. These were the nachos, right? The Dorito cheese chips, whatever the fuck. Nacho cheese Doritos. You know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, fuck, even our own food is better abroad. Well, if you consider that food. So I definitely feel the glow when I'm there. I still feel the glow. I mean, just talking about it makes me so happy. But you know, and even like talking to my husband about it this morning at 4 in the morning, and just tears streaming down my face the whole time, because it's just filled with so much beauty. It's just incredible. So I have started collecting mini deposits to get your name on the list for next year, because I really like the size of our house, and I do not want I don't want to have too big of a group. So so I'm welcoming, if you feel called and you want me to hold your spot for when I actually have itinerary and have cost and everything set up, and you can do an official deposit. It's just $50 to put your name on the list and hold your spot for next year, because it's really only 9 people. That's where we're at, 9 people. So if you feel called, go to my website and fill out the form and hold your spot. And you can do that at any time. Any other questions? Yes. Yeah, can't wait for the food to improve here as well. Yes. So, my friends, let's return to light and prayer and complete this hour in a really beautiful way. I want to say thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you to the divine feminine, to the divine orchestration of our lives, of these gifts that we are able to give ourselves when we are wholeheartedly committed to our paths and to our purpose. Thank you, Mary the Magdalene. Thank you for being the tower, the lighthouse that shines on all of us, that we can turn towards love, that we can turn towards our heart, and that we can turn towards you and your beloved Yeshua, to know what true love is, to know what humanity is really made of, to access our whole selves, fully gifted, full presence. By working with the divine ones, the shining ones, we are activating our gifts within ourselves, and we're so grateful. And by tuning into these ones who hold the path of love, we can continue in our lives trusting what happens, honoring the way, and opening our hearts. And I ask for this divine love, Holy Mother, to spread over this land, to pierce the hearts of those who manipulate and try to control the population through distortion, through obfuscation, through anarchy, through chaos. I call in the divine presence of the rose to bloom over the United States of America. To bloom, I ask for the sacred rose to bloom in the hearts that are hurting, to bloom in the places where violence resides, whether it's with a lot of people or within one heart. May the sacred rose bloom. And I invite, yes, Ariana, I invite my brothers and my sisters, when they feel pain, when they feel distortion, when they can feel the corruption of information and timelines, when you can feel the corruption of the timeline, that when you look at it, however you see it, that you place a rose over it. You just go, ooh. I place a rose over Charlie Kirk. I place a rose over Evergreen High School. I place a rose over the United States of America. I place a rose over the White House. I place a rose over Congress. I place a rose over the Supreme Court. I place a rose over every capital of every state in this country. I place a rose over every hurting mother and father's heart. I place a rose over the violent criminals that cannot find their own center, who have lost themselves to this distortion, to the inversion of reality within this place. And may we all be freed. May we all be liberated. May humanity remember that we are not under control, that we are in the divine. We are within a construct of our own making, and let us heal the darkness. Let us return to the truth of light and pure unconditional love. 110010110 0010110 0010110. This will break you out of the matrix. 0010110 0010110 0010110. Okay, thank you for the request. I'm going to sing a Cathar hymn. And let me find it. Sorry, I don't like dead air, but thank you for your patience. 0010110 0010110 0010110. Okay. In the 13th century, there was a peaceful community called the Cathars who emphasized personal spiritual growth. While they were brutally annihilated by the religious powers, they left an encoded chant and a prophecy for us. All right. So now I need to find the lyrics because that's not going to work. Thank you for your patience. Okay, here we go. So what happened was I was in the Magdalene church in Rennes-le-Château. And I didn't know the words yet, but I knew the tune. It's a well-known tune. And so I hummed it. Because the words are also, once you do know the words, you're like, wow, okay. It's actually kind of sad, the words, but it is an encoding, right? So I hummed it, and immediately the ancestors rushed to me. And they were like my family. They were all around me, kissing me, hugging on me. Welcome home, sister, welcome home. We're so glad you're here. Oh my gosh, we're so glad you're here. And then the Mary thing. And just waterfalls. So it is a chant. I'm going to sing the words, and they are in Catalan, which is a little bit of it's like old French and Spanish together. Con lobo evangilua, con lobo evangilura, planta sona culiada, a e I o u. Planta sona culiada, trova safena pe del fuoc, trova safena pel del fuoc, trista ite consolada, a e I o u. Trista hic desconsolada. Si sias malauta gigazo, si sias malauta gigazo, ti farai un potagia, a e I o u. Ti farai un potaggio. Ambun araba, ambun kaole. Ambun araba, ambun kaole. Una lauseta magra, a, e, I, o, u. Una lauseta magra. Quan serai morta enterrats me. Quan serai morta enterrats me. Al pus fons di la crota, a, e, I, o, u. Al pus fons de la crota. There are 4 more verses. When the ox herd returns from work, plants his plow on the ground. A, E, I, O, U. So these are frequencies that are coming, right? A, E, I, O, U. Plants his plow on the ground. He finds his wife by the fire, sad and disconsolable. A, E, I, O, U, sad and disconsolable. If you are ill, tell me, so I will cook a porridge for you. I will cook a porridge for you. With a radish, a cabbage, and a lean lark. When I'm dead, bury me in the deepest of caves. Bury me in the deepest of caves, with my feet towards the wall and my head towards the fountain. And my head towards the fountain. When pilgrims pass by, they will take holy water. They will take holy water and will ask, who is buried here? It is poor Joanna. It is poor Joanna. She went to the paradise, to heaven alongside her goats. To heaven alongside her goats. So remember that the Cathars were a type of ascetic as well. They were like spiritual purists. And the fountain, the cave, the lark, the goat, these are all significant symbols of the ancient world, as well as of the present, if you are aware. The sky, the earth, the water, the wind, right? And it's all here. It's all here. And there was a woman who we met in Rennes-le-Chateau that is a good friend of Gerda, who's Laura's like fairy godmother, who was there, and she and I immediately were like, oh, I know you. And I was like, we have future memories, because this woman was so incredibly familiar, and we clicked, and we didn't talk to like anybody else. It was just the two of us. We were talking for quite some time, and we went into the church, and she wanted me to sing it. She wanted to hear it. I told her about it, and then I just sang the tune to her, and she's like, oh, we need to hear this in the church. And then her other British friend that was there, Sandy, she's like, oh, I want to read the cymatones. I want to record it and see what she had a cymatic app on her phone. So we did that. And she said, I received something from Mary while you were singing. This hymn or this chant, it needs new words. So we'll see what happens. And immediately I was like, oh, like this, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, exactly. I'm like, well, you came to the right person. Mary came to the right person for catching songs and rewriting ancient lyrics for new frequencies, because the melody itself is incredibly powerful, very simple and incredibly powerful. And uh, so I'm excited. I'm like, okay, we'll see what comes of this. So that's the last piece. That's the last piece I'll share right now. More to come, I'm sure. And I look forward to seeing you all some more. I'm very happy to be back. I'm looking forward to also connecting in our Dragon Circle next week. I certainly do miss all of you and thought about you often, and just so grateful for this beautiful community. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your holding of the high frequency and for maintaining love in your own being and on this earth. Thank you. To all of the divine ones that we have consciously or subconsciously called into this place, we release you. Stay if you will, go if you must. And so it is. Thank you all so much. We'll see you again soon. Bye bye.